You know what's strange? Most of us spend our entire lives solving problems, but no one ever taught us how to solve them. We just react. We panic. We throw solutions at walls and hope something sticks. And then we wonder why the same problems keep showing up, wearing different faces. This video isn't about productivity hacks or motivational speeches. It's about understanding something most people miss. There's a structure to solving problems. Not a formula, not a trick, a way of seeing that changes everything. By the end of this, you'll know why your usual approach keeps failing and what actually works when life gets complicated. Let me ask you something honest. When a problem shows up in your life, maybe it's a relationship issue, maybe it's career confusion, maybe it's just this heavy feeling you can't name. What's your first instinct? For most of us, it's immediate action. We want it fixed now. We start making lists, asking for advice, Googling solutions at 2 a.m. We treat problems like emergencies that need to be put out before they burn everything down. And here's the thing, that urgency, it's not wrong. It's human. It's how we're wired. But it's also why we stay stuck. Because when you're in panic mode, you're not solving the problem. You're just managing the anxiety the problem creates. And there's a massive difference between those two things. Think about the last real problem you faced. Not a small inconvenience, a real one. Something that kept you up at night. Now think about what you did. Did you jump straight into fixing mode? Did you start with, what should I do, before you even understood what was actually wrong? Most of us do this. We confuse reacting with solving. We treat every problem like it's the same shape, same size, same urgency, so we use the same tools every time. And when those tools don't work, we don't question the approach, we question ourselves. Why can't I figure this out? Why does everyone else seem to have it together? What's wrong with me? Nothing's wrong with you. You're just using a broken process. You're trying to solve problems the way you were taught to solve math equations in school, fast, with the right answer, and no room for mess. But life doesn't work like that. Life's problems aren't equations. They're puzzles made of emotions, timing, context, and things you can't control. Here's what no one tells you. We weren't raised to solve problems. We were raised to avoid them. Think about it. Growing up, what happened when something went wrong? Adults stepped in, fixed it, or told us to stop crying and move on. The message was clear. Problems are bad. They mean something's broken, and broken things need to be fixed immediately or hidden. So we learned to treat problems like failures, like evidence that we're not good enough. And when you see problems that way, your brain doesn't go into solution mode, it goes into survival mode. Fight, flight, freeze. React, avoid, or collapse. And here's where it gets tricky. Survival mode is terrible at solving problems because survival mode doesn't think long-term. It doesn't weigh options. It just wants the discomfort to stop. So you make fast decisions that feel like relief, but don't actually solve anything. You quit the job without a plan. You end the relationship without a conversation. You numb out instead of facing what's real. And 6 months later, you're surprised when a similar problem shows up. Different details, same core issue. So what do people usually try? They look for the answer. The one thing that'll make it all make sense. They ask friends, read articles, scroll through advice threads, and they collect solutions like souvenirs. Maybe this'll work. Maybe this'll work. But here's the problem. They're asking the wrong question. They're asking, what should I do? Before they've asked, what's actually happening here? Or they go the other route. They overthink, they spiral, they replay the same scenario 100 times, trying to find the hidden meaning, the secret clue, the perfect insight that'll unlock everything. But overthinking isn't understanding. It's just anxiety wearing a thinking cap. Both approaches miss the same thing. Clarity comes before action. You can't solve what you don't understand. And you can't understand something if you're too scared to look at it honestly. So here's the shift. the thing that changes everything. Solving a problem starts with defining it accurately, not dramatically, not emotionally, not through the lens of fear or frustration. Just, what is this really? And this is harder than it sounds, because most of the time, the problem we think we have isn't the actual problem. You think the problem is your job, but really it's that you're exhausted and don't know how to rest. You think the problem is your partner, but really it's that you don't feel safe expressing what you need. You think the problem is money, but really it's that you're trying to buy your way out of an emotional void. The real problem is usually one layer deeper than the obvious thing. And if you don't go there, if you just solve the surface issue, you'll be back here 6 months, frustrated and confused. So the first step is always this: pause, get curious, ask better questions. Not, how do I fix this? But what is this actually about? And here's what's powerful about this. When you define a problem clearly, the solution often becomes obvious. Not easy, but obvious. Because clarity removes the fog. You stop wasting energy on things that don't matter. You stop solving problems that don't exist. Okay, so how do you actually do this? How do you move from panic to clarity? Step 1. Separate the problem from the emotion. This doesn't mean ignore your feelings. It means don't let your feelings define the problem. If you're scared, acknowledge that. But don't let fear tell you what's true. Fear exaggerates. It catastrophizes. It makes small problems feel like life or death situations. So pause, breathe, and ask, if I wasn't scared right now, how would I describe this situation? Step 2. Write it down. Not in your head, on paper, or on a screen, somewhere outside your brain. Because when you write something down, you see it differently. You stop spiraling, you start organizing, and you realize half the things you were worried about aren't even real. They're just hypotheticals your anxiety invented. Step 3. Ask the clarifying questions. These are the questions that cut through the noise. What do I actually want here? What's in my control and what's not? What would this look like if it were simple? What am I avoiding looking at? That last one is the most important, because usually the thing we're avoiding is the thing we most need to face. The conversation we don't want to have, the truth we don't want to admit, the boundary we don't want to set. Step 4. Choose one clear next step. Not 10 steps, not a full plan, just one thing. The smallest, clearest action that moves you towards understanding or resolution. Maybe it's a conversation. Maybe it's gathering information. Maybe it's just sitting with the discomfort a little longer until you know what's real. And here's the thing, you don't need to have it all figured out today. You just need to take the next true step. Here's what I've learned after years of watching people struggle with this. Most problems don't need to be solved. They need to be understood. Because when you truly understand something, one of 3 things happens. 1. The solution becomes clear. 2. You realize it wasn't actually a problem. It was just discomfort you needed to sit with. 3. You see that the problem is insoluble, but your response to it is within your control. And all 3 of those outcomes are growth. All 3 move you forward, because the goal isn't to eliminate problems from your life. The goal is to stop being controlled by them, to stop letting confusion and panic run the show. Problems will always exist. That's life, but you can learn to meet them differently, with clarity instead of chaos, with curiosity instead of fear, with patience instead of urgency. And when you do that, when you slow down and look honestly at what's real, you stop feeling powerless. You stop feeling like life is happening to you. You start seeing that you have agency. Not over everything, but over how you think, how you respond, and what you choose to do next. So here's my question for you. What problem have you been trying to solve without really understanding it? Not judging, just noticing. Because awareness is always the first step. And sometimes, just naming the real issue is half the work. Growth doesn't happen when you force it. It happens when you stop running from what's true, when you sit with the mess, when you ask better questions, when you trust yourself enough to not need all the answers right now. You don't need to fix everything today. You just need to see one thing more clearly than you did yesterday. That's how you solve any problem in life. Not with speed, with honesty.